I always knew my parents didn't love me, but I never imagined they'd sell me to a billionaire lion. Welcome back to my channel, and today's story will blow your mind. Let us know the country you are watching from. Type your country in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm sitting on the edge of a fancy leather couch in a mansion, so big it could swallow my old life whole. There's a guy across from me, all sharp suit and sharper eyes, sipping whiskey like it's water. He's a billionaire, sure, but he's also a lion. Yep, a freaking lion shifter. And me, I'm just Mia, the girl whose parents sold her for a couple $1,000,000. My heart's pounding, but I'm not scared. Not anymore. I've got a plan, and it's gonna flip this whole messed up situation on its head. But before I get to that, let me tell you how it all started. It was a Tuesday, the kind of day where nothing big's supposed to happen. I was 17, chilling in my tiny bedroom in our beat-up apartment in Chicago. The walls were thin, the carpet was stained, and the fridge was always half empty. My parents, Tina and Ray, weren't winning any Parent of the Year awards. Tina was always yelling about something. Bills, me, the neighbor's dog. Ray just drank and nodded along. Me, I kept my head down, did my schoolwork, and dreamed of getting out. College was my ticket, and I was busting my butt to make it happen. That night, I was sprawled on my bed, earbuds in, scrolling through my phone. Some pop song was blasting, drowning out the usual chaos of the apartment. Then Tina barged in, no knock, no nothing. Her bleach blonde hair was a mess, and her lipstick was smudged like she'd been arguing with Ray again. Mia, get up. We gotta talk, she snapped, yanking one of my earbuds out. I rolled my eyes but sat up. What now? Don't give me that attitude. This is serious. She crossed her arms, her fake nails tapping against her elbow. We got an offer. A big one. I raised an eyebrow. An offer? For what? The couch? 'Cause nobody's buying that thing. She didn't laugh. Instead, she looked at me weird, like I was a car she was about to trade in. For you, Mia. I froze. What the hell are you talking about? Ray stumbled into the room then, a beer can in his hand. He was slurring already, his flannel shirt half untucked. It's a good deal, kid. Real good. I stood up, my stomach twisting. Somebody better start making sense, or I'm out of here. Tina sighed, like I was the one being difficult. There's this guy. Rich. Like stupid rich. He's got some special interests, and he's willing to pay a lot to have you. My jaw dropped. You're selling me? Like I'm some freaking Craigslist couch? It's not like that. Tina snapped. It's a contract. You go live with him, do what he says, and we get paid. You'll be set for life, Mia. No more scraping by. I laughed, but it wasn't funny. You're insane. Both of you. I'm not something you can just pawn off. Ray shrugged, like it was no big deal. $2,000,000, Mia. That's what he's offering. You gonna say no to that? I stared at them, my parents, the people who were supposed to love me. But all I saw was greed in their eyes. They didn't care about me. Never had. I was just a paycheck now. Who is he? I asked, my voice shaking. Tina hesitated, then said, his name's Leo Grayson. He's different, but he's loaded and he wants you. Different how? I pressed. Ray snorted. Guy's a lion or some crap. Shifter. You know, like in those dumb movies you watch. My heart skipped a beat. Shifters were real, but they kept to themselves. Rich ones, even rarer. And now one wanted me. This was nuts. I'm not doing it, I said, grabbing my backpack. You can't make me. Tina grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. You don't get it, Mia. We already signed the papers. It's done. I yanked free, my chest tight. You sold me? Without even asking. It's for your own good, she yelled. You'll thank us when you're living in a mansion. I didn't stick around to argue. I bolted for the door, my sneakers pounding against the creaky floor. I heard Ray shout after me, but I was already out, running into the chilly Chicago night. My breath puffed in the air and my mind was racing. I had to get away, figure this out. But where could I go? I had no money, no real friends. Just the phone and the clothes on my back. I ended up at a 24-hour diner a few blocks away. The kind with sticky tables and coffee that tasted like regret. I slid into a booth, ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, a side of fries, and tried to think. My phone buzzed. A text from Tina. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. They're coming for you. I shivered, even though the diner was warm. They? Who was they? Leo Grayson's people? Some shady goons? I didn't know, but I wasn't sticking around to find out. I opened my phone and Googled Leo Grayson. The results were sparse. Rich guy, private, owns half the city's real estate. No mention of him being a shifter, but there was a blurry photo of him at some charity gala. Tall, broad shoulders, dark hair, and eyes that looked intense, like he could see right through you. I was still staring at the screen when the diner's bell jingled. Two guys walked in, both in slick black suits, looking way too fancy for a place like this. One was bald, built like a tank. The other was leaner, with a scar across his cheek. They scanned the room, and when their eyes landed on me, I knew I was screwed. Miss Mia, the bald one said, his voice deep and calm. We're here to take you to Mr. Grayson. I gripped my phone tight. I'm not going anywhere with you. Scarface smirked. You don't got a choice, kid. Contract signed. Let's make this easy. My heart was hammering, but I wasn't about to let them drag me out like some helpless kid. I glanced at the waitress, who was too busy flirting with the cook to notice. No help there. The diner was empty except for an old guy snoring in the corner. It was just me and these two creeps. Fine, I said, standing up slow. But I need to use the bathroom first. Baldy narrowed his eyes but nodded. Make it quick. I grabbed my backpack and headed to the back, where the bathroom was next to a rusty exit door. My hands were shaking as I locked the bathroom door behind me. I didn't have much time. I pushed open the window above the sink. It was small, but I was skinny. I tossed my backpack out first, then squeezed through, scraping my knees on the frame. I hit the ground in the alley outside, grabbed my bag, and ran. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to let my parents or some billionaire lion decide my life for me. Not without a fight. I ran for hours that night, weaving through Chicago's back alleys, my lungs burning and my backpack bouncing against my spine. The city was alive, car horns, distant sirens, the hum of neon signs, but it felt like a trap closing in. Tina's text kept flashing in my head. They're coming for you. I didn't know who they were, but those two goons at the diner were bad news. I had to stay ahead of them. I ended up in a sketchy part of town near the river, where the street lights flickered and the air smelled like oil and garbage. My phone was at 5%, and I had maybe $10 in my wallet. No way I could keep running forever. I ducked into an all-night laundromat, the kind with buzzing fluorescent lights and a vending machine that only spit out stale chips. It was empty except for a lady folding towels, humming to herself. I slid into a plastic chair, trying to catch my breath and think. Yo, you okay, kid? The lady asked, eyeing me over her pile of laundry. She was older, with gray streaks in her hair and a voice like she'd smoked a pack a day forever. I forced a smile. Yeah, just needed a break. She didn't buy it. You look like you're running from something. Or someone. I hesitated. Spilling my guts to a stranger wasn't my style, but I was desperate. My parents, they did something messed up. I'm trying to figure it out. She nodded, like she'd heard worse. Family can screw you over worse than anybody. You got a plan? Not really, I admitted. Just trying to stay out of trouble. She chuckled, tossing a towel into a basket. Trouble's got a way of finding you. You got a place to crash? I shook my head. My phone buzzed 1% now. I opened it, and there was another text from an unknown number. Asterisk Mia, stop running. We'll find you. Make this easy. Asterisk, my stomach dropped. They had my number. Of course they did. The lady must have seen my face, 'cause she leaned over. Listen, kid. There's a shelter a few blocks down. Ain't fancy, but it's safe. Tell him Rosie sent you. Thanks, I said, standing up. I owe you. Just don't get yourself killed, she said, going back to her towels. I bolted out, keeping my head down as I headed for the shelter. The streets were quiet now, but I felt eyes everywhere. By the time I got to the shelter, my legs were jelly. It was a brick building with a faded sign, and a guy at the door who looked like he could bench press a car. I mumbled Rosie's name, and he let me in. Inside, it was warm, with rows of cots and a few people curled up, sleeping. A lady at a desk gave me a blanket and pointed to an empty cot. I crashed hard, but my dreams were all claws and golden eyes. Morning came too fast. I was eating a stale bagel from the shelter's breakfast spread when my phone, somehow still clinging to life, buzzed again. Another text. Asterisk, meet us at Grant Park, noon. Come alone. You can't run forever. Asterisk, my hand shook as I read it. They weren't giving up. I could keep running, but for how long? I had no money, no plan. Maybe it was time to face this head on, figure out what this Leo Grayson guy wanted. I got to Grant Park early, scoping out the place from a bench near the fountain. It was sunny, with joggers and tourists milling around, but I felt like a target. At noon sharp, a black SUV rolled up, all tinted windows and bad vibes. The same two goons from the diner stepped out, plus a new guy, tall, dark hair, dressed like he owned the city. His eyes locked on me, and my gut told me this was Leo Grayson. Mia, he said, his voice smooth but heavy, like it could pin you in place. I'm Leo. We need to talk. I stood up, keeping my backpack close. Talk? My parents sold me to you. I don't know you a damn thing. The goons tensed, but Leo raised a hand, and they backed off. You're right. What they did was wrong. But I'm not your enemy. Could have fooled me, I snapped. Your guys chased me halfway across Chicago. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. They were overzealous. I told them to find you, not scare you. Can we sit? 5 minutes. Hear me out. I didn't trust him, but I was tired and part of me was curious. I nodded, and we sat on the bench, the goons hovering nearby like bodyguards. Leo leaned forward, his eyes intense but not cruel. Up close, he was younger than I'd thought, maybe late 20s and stupidly good-looking, like a movie star with a secret. Your parents owed me a debt, he started. A big one. They've been mixed up in some bad stuff, gambling mostly. When they couldn't pay, they offered you instead. I laughed bitter. Wow, great parenting. I didn't ask for this, he said, his voice low. But I saw your picture, heard your story. You're smart, Mia. Tough. I don't want a servant or whatever your parents thought. I want a partner. I blinked. A partner? For what? He leaned closer, and I caught a hint of something wild in his scent, like a forest after a storm. I'm not just a businessman. I'm a shifter. My pride, my family is in trouble. Rivals are circling, and I need someone by my side, someone who can handle the heat. I think that's you. I stared at him, my brain spinning. You're saying you bought me too. What, be your fake girlfriend? Your shifter sidekick? Not fake, he said. Real. You'd live with me, learn our ways. In return, you're set for life. Money, education, freedom, whatever you want. And if I say no, I asked, my heart pounding. His jaw tightened. Then you're free to go. But your parents, they'll find another way to pay their debt. And it won't be pretty. I swallowed hard. He wasn't threatening me, not exactly, but the message was clear. Tina and Ray had screwed me over, and now I was stuck in their mess. I didn't owe them anything, but I also didn't want to spend my life running. Why me? I asked. You could have anybody. He smiled, just a little, and it was the first time he didn't look like a predator. Because you're not afraid to fight. I need that. I sat there, the park buzzing around us, and weighed my options. Run, and maybe get caught by worse people. Or take a chance with this lion guy, who was either my ticket out or a whole new kind of cage. Fine, I said finally. I'll come with you. But I'm not your property. We're clear. Crystal, he said, standing up. Let's go. As I followed him to the SUV, the goons trailing behind, I felt like I was stepping into a whole new world. One with claws, secrets, and a guy who might just change everything. The SUV ride from Grant Park was dead quiet. I sat in the back, squished between Baldy and Scarface, while Leo rode up front, tapping away on his phone. The city blurred past, skyscrapers, neon signs, then quieter streets with big houses and bigger gates. My stomach was doing flips. I'd said yes to Leo's deal. But what did I really know about him? Rich, shifter, maybe not a total creep, but that didn't mean I trusted him. We pulled up to a mansion that looked like it belonged in a movie. Huge stone walls, iron gates, a driveway long enough to land a plane. The place screamed money, but it also felt alive, like it was watching me. I grabbed my backpack, my only piece of home, and followed Leo inside. The goons stayed back, thank God. The foyer was nuts, marble floors, a chandelier the size of a car, and a staircase that curved up like it led to Narnia. I felt like a stray dog in a palace. Leo turned to me, his face unreadable. "Welcome home," he said, like it was no big deal. I snorted. "Home? This is a hotel, dude." He smirked just a flicker. "You'll get used to it. Come on, I'll show you your room." We climbed the stairs, my sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. The hallways were lined with paintings, lions, forests, some old-timey people with serious faces. I caught a whiff of something sharp, like pine and musk, and realized it was Leo. Dude smelled like a freaking wilderness. "Your parents didn't give me much about you," he said as we walked. "Just a name and a photo. Tell me about Mia." I shrugged, keeping my eyes on the paintings. "Not much to tell. Grew up in a crappy apartment. Parents are losers. I'm good at school. That's it." He stopped at a door and raised an eyebrow. "That's not it. You ran from my guys. You're not just some kid." I met his gaze, my chin up. "Maybe I'm just stubborn." He chuckled, low and warm. "Good. You'll need that." He pushed the door open, and I swear my jaw hit the floor. The room was bigger than my whole apartment. King-size bed with silky sheets, a desk, a TV that looked like a movie screen, and a window with a view of a garden that went on forever. My backpack felt like a joke in my hands. "This is yours," Leo said. "Get settled. Dinner's at 7. We'll talk more then." I dropped my bag on the bed, still processing. "You're not going to lock me in or anything, right?" His eyes softened just a bit. "You're not a prisoner, Mia. You're free to leave, but I hope you'll stay." He left me there, the door clicking shut. I flopped onto the bed, staring at the ceiling. Free to leave? Yeah, right. My parents had sold me, and Leo's deal was my only way out of their mess. But I wasn't about to play a good little house guest. I needed answers. I spent the afternoon poking around the room. There was a closet full of clothes, jeans, tops, even dresses, all my size. Creepy, but useful. I found a laptop on the desk, password protected, and a stack antibody books. Everything from Shakespeare to some sci-fi I'd never heard of. Leo was either trying to impress me or figure me out. Maybe both. At 7, I headed downstairs, following the smell of food. The dining room was another level of extra, long table, candles, plates that looked like they cost more than my tuition. Leo was already there, in a black shirt that hugged his shoulders, sipping wine. A woman in a crisp uniform was setting out food. Steak, mashed potatoes, some fancy salad. My stomach growled. "Sit," Leo said, nodding to the chair across from him. I plopped down, grabbing a roll. "So what's the deal? You gonna tell me why I'm really here?" He leaned back, his eyes glinting. Straight to the point. "I like that." "Don't dodge," I said, tearing the roll apart. "You said you need a partner. For what? And don't give me that vague pride and trouble crap." He set his glass down, his face serious now. "My pride, my family, is one of the oldest shifter clans in the country. We've got power, money, influence. But we're under attack. Another clan, the Drakes, wants our territory. They're ruthless. I need someone to stand with me, show we're united. Someone human." I frowned, swallowing a bite. "Why human? You've got a whole pack of lions, don't you?" "Pride," he corrected, a hint of a smile. "And yes, but humans, they're neutral. A human by my side sends a message. It says we're not just beasts. It could stop a war." I stared at him. "So I'm what, your human shield? Your PR stunt?" He winced like I'd hit a nerve. "It's more than that. You'd be part of this. Learn our ways, our secrets. You'd have power, Mia." "Power," I scoffed. Sounds like a fancy way of saying target. "What's in it for me, besides not being homeless?" He leaned forward, his voice low. "Name it. College? Done. Money? Yours. A future where no one can touch you. I can give you that." I wanted to laugh, but his eyes were dead serious. This wasn't just a deal, it was a whole new life. One I wasn't sure I wanted. Before I could answer, the door swung open and a girl stormed in. She was tall, all sharp cheekbones and dark curls, with eyes like Leo's, golden, predatory. She was maybe 20, dressed in leather like she was about to kick someone's ass. Leo, what the hell? She snapped, glaring at me. This is her? The human. Leo sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Mia, meet Zara. My sister. Zara crossed her arms, sizing me up like I was roadkill. She's scrawny, and she smells like fear. You think she can handle the Drakes? I bristled, standing up. I'm right here, princess, and I don't scare easy. Zara smirked, but it wasn't friendly. Cute. Let's see how long you last. Enough, Leo growled, his voice cutting through the room. Zara rolled her eyes but backed off, slinking to a chair. Dinner was tense after that. Zara kept throwing shade. Leo stayed calm, and I shoveled food in my face to avoid talking. But my brain was racing. Zara clearly hated me, and she wasn't shy about it. If she was Leo's sister, who else in this pride wanted me gone? And what were these secrets Leo kept hinting at? After dinner, I went back to my room, locking the door. I wasn't tired, I was wired. I grabbed the laptop, hoping to dig up more on Leo or the Drakes, but it was still locked. Figures. I paced, my mind spinning. This place was a maze, and I was already lost. Then I heard it, a low, rumbling growl, right outside my window. I froze, my heart slamming against my ribs. The garden was dark, but something moved. Something big. Golden eyes flashed, then vanished. I didn't sleep that night. Leo's mansion wasn't just a fancy cage. It was hiding something, something with claws. And I was going to find out what. After that creepy growl outside my window, I was done playing clueless house guest. Leo's mansion was gorgeous, sure, but it was also a fortress full of secrets, and I wasn't about to wait for them to bite me in the ass. The next morning, I woke up gritty-eyed and pissed off. I threw on jeans and a hoodie from the closet, still weird that they fit me perfectly, and headed downstairs. No way was I sitting in my room like some damsel waiting for answers. The mansion was quiet, too quiet, like it was holding its breath. I wandered past the dining room, the library, and a gym that looked like it could train an army. No sign of Leo or his snarky sister Zara. But I did find a door at the end of a hallway, half hidden behind a fancy tapestry. It was heavy metal with a keypad lock. Jackpot. This had to be where the real stuff was. I was no hacker, but I'd seen enough movies to give it a shot. I tried 1234. Nothing. Leo nada. I was about to punch in Lion when I heard footsteps. I ducked behind the tapestry, holding my breath. Zara's voice cut through the silence, sharp and annoyed. I'm telling you, Leo, this is a mistake. She's a liability. The Drakes will eat her alive. Leo's voice was low, calm, but firm. She's tougher than you think, and we need her. I peeked out, barely breathing. They were standing a few feet away. Leo in a crisp white shirt, Zara in leather again, looking like she wanted to claw something. Me, probably. Need her? Zara scoffed. She's human, Leo. Weak. You think parading her around will scare off the Drakes? They'll see right through it. Leo crossed his arms. It's not just about the Drakes. The pride's fracturing. Half our people think I'm too soft, too human. Me is my way of showing we can bridge both worlds. Zara laughed, cold. You're delusional. She's gonna get you killed. Or worse, expose us. She won't, Leo said, his voice hard now. I'll make sure of it. I felt a chill. Make sure of what? That I played along. Or that I didn't spill their shifter secrets. I stayed still, my heart hammering, until they walked off. Once the coast was clear, I slipped out and headed back to my room, my brain on overdrive. Leo wasn't just using me as a prop. He was betting his whole pride on me. And Zara? She'd rather see me gone than risk it. I needed more info, and I wasn't going to find it guessing keypad codes. So I decided to play nice. At lunch, I found Leo in the dining room, eating a sandwich like a normal guy, not some Lion King. He looked up when I walked in, his eyes softening. Sleep okay? He asked, pushing a plate of food toward me. I grabbed a sandwich and sat down. Not really. Heard something weird outside my window last night. like a growl. His hand froze mid-bite, but he covered it fast. Probably just a dog. Neighborhood's full of M. I raised an eyebrow. A dog with eyes like yours? Come on, Leo. Level with me. What's going on here? He sighed, setting his sandwich down. You're not gonna let this go, are you? Nope, I said, popping a chip in my mouth. You want me to be your partner? Then stop treating me like a kid. He leaned back, studying me. Fair enough. But you gotta understand, Mia, this world's dangerous. Not just the Drakes. My pride, we're not all on the same page. Some don't trust humans. Some don't trust me. Like Zara, I said, keeping my voice casual. He snorted. Yeah, like Zara. She's loyal, but she's got a temper. Thinks I'm risking too much bringing you in. And are you? I asked, holding his gaze. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood up and motioned for me to follow. Come with me. There's something you need to see. I hesitated, but curiosity won out. We walked through the mansion, down a different hallway, to another locked door. This one opened with a scan of Leo's hand. High-tech stuff. The door led to a staircase going down, and the air got cooler, heavier, like we were entering a cave. Where are we going? I asked, my sneakers echoing on the steps. You'll see, he said, his voice tight. At the bottom was a huge room, like a basement but fancier, stone walls, dim lights, and a massive table covered in maps and photos. Screens lined one wall, showing security feeds of the mansion and some forest I didn't recognize. It looked like a war room. Whoa, I said, my eyes wide. What is this place? Leo walked to the table, picking up a photo. This is where we plan, where we keep the pride safe. I stepped closer, looking at the photo. It was a group of people. Some I didn't know, but I spotted Zara and Leo. They were standing in a clearing, and behind them was a massive lion, its mane dark and wild. My stomach flipped. Is that you? I asked, pointing at the lion. He nodded, his face unreadable. Yeah, that's me. I swallowed hard. Okay, so you're a lion. I knew that. But what's all this? I waved at the maps, the screens. He set the photo down. The Drakes aren't just rivals. They're trying to wipe us out. They've been attacking our territories, picking off our people. These maps show their movements. The screens track our borders. I stared at the maps, my head spinning. This is like some shifter gang war. Pretty much, he said, a grim smile tugging at his lips. And you're in the middle of it. I laughed, nervous. Great. So I'm your human mascot in a turf war. What else you hiding? He hesitated, then walked to a locked cabinet. He opened it with a key from his pocket and pulled out a file. He handed it to me, his eyes serious. This is the truth about why you're here. I opened the file, my hands shaky. Inside were papers, contracts, photos, even a picture of me from my school ID. But the kicker was a letter signed by my parents. It wasn't just about their debt. It said I was special, that I had some kind of potential Leo needed. My blood ran cold. What the hell is this? I asked, my voice shaking. What's so special about me? Leo took a deep breath. Your parents weren't just gamblers. They were involved with shifters, my pride, years ago. They knew things. And you've got a gift, Mia. One you don't even know about. I stepped back, the file slipping from my hands. A gift? I'm just a kid from Chicago. I'm not some freaking X-Men. I know it's a lot, he said, his voice gentle. But you're not just human. You've got shifter blood, Mia. Diluted, but it's there. It's why I chose you. The room spun. Shifter blood? Me. It was insane. But those golden eyes outside my window, the way I'd always felt different. It clicked and I hated it. You're lying, I whispered, but I knew he wasn't. I'm not, he said, stepping closer. And I'll prove it. But you gotta trust me. I laughed, bitter. Trust you? My parents sold me, and you're telling me I'm part lion? I don't even know who I am anymore. He reached for me, but I backed away. Mia, don't, I snapped, storming for the stairs. I need air. I ran back to my room, slamming the door. My whole life was a lie, and Leo had the answers. But trusting him? That was a leap I wasn't ready for. Not yet. After Leo dropped the bomb about my shifter blood, I was a wreck. I locked myself in my room, pacing like a caged animal. Ironic, right? My whole life, I thought I was just Mia, the nobody kid from a nowhere apartment. Now I was supposed to believe I had some lion DNA rattling around in me. It was too much. I wanted to scream, cry, maybe punch something. But mostly I wanted answers, and Leo was the only one who had them. I didn't talk to him for 2 days. I stayed in my room, living off snacks from a mini fridge and ignoring his knocks. Zara didn't bother me, which was fine. Her attitude was the last thing I needed. But on the third day, I woke up to a note slid under my door. It was in Leo's neat handwriting. Asterisk, meet me in the garden at noon. No pressure. Just talk. Asterisk, I crumpled it up, ready to toss it, but something stopped me. I was tired of hiding. If I was going to figure this out, I had to face him. The garden was stupidly pretty. Roses, fountains, paths that twisted like a maze. Leo was waiting by a bench, in jeans and a black tee, looking more like a guy than a billionaire lion. He stood when he saw me, his face cautious. You came, he said, like he wasn't sure I would. I shrugged, hands in my hoodie pockets. Figured I can't hide forever. So what's the deal? You gonna turn me into a lion or what? He laughed, a real one, and it eased the knot in my chest. Not exactly. You're not a full shifter. You can't change, but you've got instincts, strength, maybe even senses you haven't noticed yet. I raised an eyebrow. Like what? Super smell? 'Cause I'm pretty sure I just smell pizza. He grinned, sitting on the bench and patting the spot next to him. I sat, keeping some space between us. It's subtle, he said. You might feel sharper, faster. Maybe you've always been good at reading people. That's the blood in you. I thought about it. I'd always had a knack for spotting lies. Tina's fake promises, Ray's drunk excuses. Was that a shifter thing? Okay, say I buy this. Why didn't my parents tell me? Leo's face darkened. They didn't know much. Your mom's side had a shifter ancestor, way back. It's rare, but it happens. They only figured it out when they got mixed up with my pride. They used it to bargain with me. I clenched my fists. So they sold me 'cause I'm what a discount lion? He shook his head. They sold you 'cause they're selfish. But I saw something else. You're not just a bargaining chip, Mia. You're you. I snorted. But his words hit harder than I wanted to admit. Nobody had ever looked at me like I was worth something. Not my parents, not my teachers. But Leo? He was either a great actor or he meant it. So what now? I asked. I'm supposed to play Shifter Princess and scare off the Drakes? He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Not princess. Partner. I'll teach you what you need to know, our rules, our fights. But you gotta meet the pride. Some won't like you. You ready for that? I smirked. I've dealt with worse than a few grumpy cats. He chuckled, but his eyes were serious. Good, 'cause it starts tonight. That night, Leo took me to a meeting in the war room. The place was packed, maybe 20 people, all with that same wild vibe Leo and Zara had. Some were young, some older, but they all had eyes that gleamed like predators. Zara was there, arms crossed, glaring at me like I'd stolen her favorite toy. A big guy with a beard, introduced as Marcus, gave me a nod, but others just stared, cold and curious. Leo stood at the head of the table, his voice steady. This is Mia. She's with us now. Human, but with our blood. She's here to stand with me against the Drakes. Murmurs rippled through the room. A woman with short hair and a scar on her neck spoke up. A human? Leo, you're joking. She'll get torn apart. I bristled, stepping forward. Wanna bet? I'm not here to play fetch. I'm here to fight. The room went quiet. Marcus laughed, loud and deep. She's got guts. I like her. Zara rolled her eyes. Guts won't keep her alive. Enough, Leo snapped, his voice carrying that growl I'd heard before. Mia's one of us. Anyone got a problem, you deal with me. The meeting moved on, talk of Drake attacks, border patrols, some ritual I didn't understand. I stayed quiet, soaking it all in. These people weren't just a family. They were a pack, bound by blood and loyalty. And me. I was the outsider trying to claw my way in. After, Marcus pulled me aside. He was built like a tank, but had a warm smile. You did good, kid. Most would have bolted facing this crowd. I shrugged. Not my first rodeo with jerks. He laughed. Stick with Leo. He's tough, but he's fair. And watch Zara. She's got claws even for one of us. Thanks, I said, meaning it. Marcus felt like the first real ally I had here. Later, I was heading to my room when Zara cornered me in the hallway. Her golden eyes burned, and her voice was all venom. You think you're special 'cause Leo picked you? You're nothing. A pet he'll toss aside when the drakes come. I stepped closer, not backing down. Jealous much? I'm not here for your brother's attention. I'm here to survive. She smirked, but it was shaky. Survive? You don't even know what you're in for. She stormed off, leaving me rattled but pissed. Zara wasn't just a brat. She was scared. Of me, maybe. Or of what I meant for the pride. That night, Leo knocked on my door. I let him in, still buzzing from the meeting. He looked tired, his hair messy like he'd been running his hands through it. You okay? He asked, leaning against the wall. I sat on the bed, hugging my knees. Yeah, just a lot. Your pride's intense. He nodded. They're family, flaws and all. But they'll come around. I looked at him, really looked. He wasn't just a billionaire or a lion. He was a guy carrying a whole world on his shoulders. And for some reason, he thought I could help carry it. Why me, Leo? I asked, my voice quiet. For real. No BS. He met my eyes, and for once, he didn't dodge. Because you're not afraid to call me out. Because you've got a fire in you, Mia. I need that. We need that. I didn't know what to say. Nobody had ever believed in me like that. It scared me, but it also felt right. Get some sleep, he said, heading for the door. Tomorrow we start training. As he left, I realized something. This wasn't just about surviving anymore. It was about finding a place, a family, maybe even a home. And I was ready to fight for it. Training with Leo was no joke. The morning after the Pride meeting, he dragged me out to a clearing behind the mansion, a spot hidden by trees and thick with the smell of earth. I was in borrowed workout gear, feeling like a kid playing dress-up, while Leo stood there in a tank top and shorts, looking like he could bench press me without breaking a sweat. Ready to find out what you're made of? He asked, tossing me a water bottle. I caught it, smirking. Born ready. What's the plan? You gonna chase me like a gazelle? He laughed, but his eyes were serious. Not yet. First, we test your instincts. Shifter blood means you've got more in you than you think. Let's see it. He started with basics, dodging, blocking, moving fast. I thought it'd be easy, but Leo was relentless. He'd lunge, not full force, but enough to make my heart race. Every time I ducked or sidestepped, he'd nod, like I was proving something. I was sweaty and bruised by lunch, but I felt alive, like I was tapping into something I didn't know I had. You're quick, he said, handing me a towel. Quicker than most humans. That's the blood. I wiped my face, panting. Yeah. Well, I'm still not roaring. What else you got? He grinned. Patience. Next, we work on your senses. Close your eyes. I raised an eyebrow but did it. He walked around me, his footsteps soft but clear. Focus, he said. What do you hear? Smell. I felt stupid, but I tried. The wind rustled the trees, birds chirped, and there was that pine musk scent again, Leo. I caught something else, too. Faint but sharp like metal. You've got a knife, I said, eyes still closed. He chuckled. Good. Open your eyes. I did, and he was holding a small blade, spinning it casually. How'd I do that? I asked, half freaked out. Your senses are sharper than you think, he said. You just need to trust them. Training went on like that for days. Physical stuff, then sensory drills, even some pride history. Leo told me about their rituals, their laws, how the Drakes had been rivals for decades. I soaked it up, but I was also watching the pride. Marcus was cool, always checking in. Others warmed up, but some, like that scarred woman from the meeting, still gave me the side eye. Zara was the worst, always lurking, throwing shade whenever she could. One night, I was in the war room alone, studying the maps. I'd gotten good at sneaking in. Leo had given me the code, after I bugged him enough. I was tracing the Drake's territory when the door opened. I spun around, expecting Leo, but it was Zara, her eyes blazing. Caught you, she said, crossing her arms. Snooping, huh? I didn't flinch. Learning. You should try it sometime. She stepped closer, her voice low. You don't belong here, Mia. You're playing at being one of us, but you're not. You'll crack, and Leo will pay for it. I stood my ground. You're scared, Zara. Not of me, but of change. Get over it. Her jaw tightened, and for a second, I thought she'd swing. But she just turned and stormed out. I let out a breath, my hand shaking. Zara wasn't just a bully. She was a threat. I needed to be ready. The next day, Leo took me to meet the pride's elder, a woman named Lila. She lived in a cottage on the edge of the estate, all herbs and old books. She was tiny, with white hair and eyes that saw right through you. Leo left us alone, and Lila studied me like I was a puzzle. You've got fire, child, she said, her voice soft but strong. But fire can burn you out if you're not careful. I sat across from her, fidgeting. Leo says they don't call it a cliche, but it's true. I'm trying to figure out who I am. Not just human, but something more. Lila nodded, pouring tea. You're a bridge, Mia. Between worlds. That's rare. Dangerous, but powerful. I sipped the tea, warm and bitter. So what do I do with it? Embrace it, she said. Learn who you are. The pride needs you, but you need you first. Her words stuck with me. That night, I snuck back to the war room and found the file on me again. I read it closer. Notes about my potential, my bloodline. There was a mention of a ritual. Something to awaken shifter traits. My heart raced. If I could tap into that, maybe I could prove myself to the pride. And to me. I confronted Leo the next morning. There's a ritual to wake up my shifter side. Why didn't you tell me? He sighed, rubbing his neck. It's risky, Mia. Not everyone survives it. I didn't want to push you. I'm not scared, I said, my voice steady. I need to know who I am. He looked at me, long and hard, then nodded. Okay, we'll do it. But you're not doing it alone. The ritual was set for the full moon, in the stone circle I'd seen in the garden. The pride gathered, tense and quiet. Lila led the ceremony, chanting words I didn't understand. Leo stood by me, his hand brushing mine, steadying me. I drank something bitter from a cup, and then it hit. Pain. Fire, like my blood was boiling. I saw flashes, a lion's roar, a forest, my parents' faces. I screamed, but Leo held me, his voice grounding me. When it was over, I was shaking, but alive. I felt different. Stronger. Sharper. Lila smiled. Welcome, daughter of the pride. The pride cheered, even some of the doubters. Zara stayed quiet, but her glare softened, just a fraction. Leo pulled me close, his voice low. You did it, Mia. You're one of us. I looked at him, my heart full. No, I'm me, and I'm staying. That night, I stood in the garden, the moon bright. I wasn't just a kid anymore. I was Mia, part human, part lion, and I was ready to fight for my place in this wild, messy world.